I'm Dan Drake. This is Visitor Network TV, and our guest is John Shea. John is the artistic director of the Theater Workshop of Nantucket, along with his other accomplishments. And we'd like to talk about both the Theater Workshop and your other accomplishments. John, welcome.
Dan, happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about the new show that's coming up. I guess it's opening tomorrow, Thursday. And
it's the North American premiere of an English play called Dinner, and it's about it's a comedy. Essentially a black comedy about an English dinner party that goes really wrong. You don't want to be invited by these people to dinner. If you come see the play, you'll see why. We have, a company of 150 people, and they roam around the world. And one of them was in London last year and saw it and called us and wrote to us and said, "You got to come see this play." We couldn't get to London, but we got a copy of it. We read it and loved it, and we got the rights. It played in London to great success. So Ginny Irwin is directing it. She's the one who saw it in London. And then we have a cast of some of our regular company, and then visiting artists who come from off island. This has been the way we've operated for the last 5 or 6 years.
And it seems to work very well for you.
Well, because there's some plays, particularly in the summer, that the actors are in our company who live here year-round. They're working too hard to be able to devote to the theater in the summer and work for the small wages that we can pay compared to, let's say, running a big business.
Right.
So what they do is they work with us in the fall and the spring, and we bring in guest artists from Los Angeles and New York and Dublin and London, wherever it's appropriate to have them. And so this play is a great play, and I hope you'll come see it.
I'm looking forward to it. John Knox Johnson is one of our great friends. So,
well, John, I wanted to direct earlier this summer, and I asked John to be in the play that I was directing, and he said, "No, John, I'm traveling in Europe with my wife. It's her birthday, and I've taken the summer off." Well, what can you say? I said, "Well, I wish I could come with you. Can I carry your baggage?" Anyway, so finally he showed back up in August, and he went into rehearsal for us. And yes, he's the male lead in this, and he's brilliant as usual.
He's great. What else is on the schedule for the rest of the year? The rest of the
well,
season?
in the fall, when we can really devote ourselves to the community production, we have, we want to incorporate children, as we always have. In the last few years, we've done Oliver and the Wizard of Oz and Peter Pan and Annie. And we've filled the stage with all these kids. And now these kids are falling in love with the theater, and they want to do more of it. And it's hard for us in the course of the summer to do these big productions, although this summer we did the Wizard of Oz again. But this fall, we're going to do a Christmas story. The Charles Dickens play that
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Right. Christmas Story is another musical. Right. Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens. But it's music by Alan Menken, who wrote The Little Mermaid and other plays that have been on Broadway, and so it's kind of genius music. So it's the Christmas Carol set to music, and there's all these neighborhood kids and people quarreling and singing, and so that's where the community will come involved.
A bit of herding cats, right?
Well, there's we've had up to 50 kids on stage, including my own 2 children, and it's tough, but it's exciting to come into the theater and hear all those voices. And so I think this year we might have like 25, but it's going to be great.
And that starts just before Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you when it opens. I happen to have my card here. It opens November 22nd and plays to December 14th. So just before Thanksgiving until just before Christmas. Right. So during the holidays, and it'll be fantastic. And then, we do smaller productions in the course of the fall as well. We start in a couple of weeks. We start our free play reading series at the Athenaeum, in the Great Hall of the Athenaeum.
The stage readings.
Stage readings, and they're free to the public. And the Athenaeum puts out tea and cookies, and we bring our company in, and we rehearse these plays for a couple of days and then put them up on the stage, and they're great because you get to see plays that you would never ordinarily see.
Right.
And then we also, let me tell you, Hamlet we're doing at Greater Light. And Meredith Martin is directing it. We're doing just, again, a staged reading of it, but a full reading of Hamlet with our company, and it's going to be great.
When's
and
that?
We have this ongoing, it plays October 7th and 8th. So in a couple of weeks. We have an ongoing relationship with the NHA. I don't know if you know, we've been doing Moby Dick there for the last couple of years, and that's been fantastic. And now we're branching out and doing other productions with them. We've done poetry readings at Greater Light, and now we're going to do Hamlet. And then at the jail, at the old jail, and Halloween, we're going to read on October 29th. We're reading scary Halloween stories. We're going to decorate the whole old jail, and as you come in down that path, it's like every man for himself. So it'll be scary for the kids. We'll have people. I don't know if you know, I directed Dracula this year, so we're going to have the Dracula crypt that Dracula was in at the end of the play, and have people hiding in that. And then when they come into the jail, we're going to tell them stories. but Halloween stories and ghost stories. And it's a little bit fun.
Oh, that'll be great.
So that's a collaboration with the NHA. So this is kind of some of the stuff we're doing.
You've been the artistic director now. You're finishing your fourth season. Is that right? Fifth season.
Yeah,
that's great. And
this is the fourth with Gabrielle, but I did one season on my own before that.
And I think it's fair to say that you have put the breath of life into the theater workshop, which is great.
Well, the theater workshop put its breath of life into me when I was 19 years old, and the very first night I was ever on Nantucket in April of 1968, I stumbled into the old Straight Wharf Theater, stumbled into the back of. I was looking for a beer, and on my way to Captain Toby's, and I came into the back of the theater, and there was, the door was ajar, and I looked inside. There was a rehearsal going on, and Mac Dixon, who started this theater about almost 60 years ago, said, "Shay," he said, "can you do an Irish accent?" I said, "I could fake one." And he said, "Good, here, take this and go backstage. You're about to make your entrance." And
what was the play?
Really, like an hour of landing, and it was called Juno and the Paycock by Sean O'Casey.
Sure, yeah.
And it was a fantastic play. And Eric Schultz and I played furniture removal men, repo men, who were there to repossess the rented furniture they couldn't afford to pay for. So anyway, so Matt Dixon kind of opened the doors for me. In a way that was the first time I was ever on stage. Yeah. Well, in a professional way. I had just done my first play at college, and I was just coming down to college to work here for the summer. And at the end of the week, he handed me $10. I said, "What's this for?" He said, "Everybody in our theater gets paid. You're a professional actor now." And it was $10, and it made me feel so proud. And so that's what we do with our actors. We are a professional company. Everybody gets paid. We have equity actors who come in from New York and LA and all over the world, and we pay them the equity wages. But we've made sure, Gabrielle and I, that all the actors get paid, all the designers, everybody gets something. It's not as much as you hope for, but it's more than you would have gotten 5 years ago.
That's wonderful.
And it's kind of great. Yeah. So it gives everybody that sense of feeling that I got, which is, you're a pro.
Truly a community theater, but a community theater.
It's a professional community theater.
A professional community with a professional outlook and a professional technique, if you will.
That's right. But we try to bring all the community people in and make them understand what it feels like to be in a professional theater.
Not to upset you, but what an impact has the White Heron, the new theater company, had?
Well, they're a community theater too. They are just starting out. They were members of our company for a long time. I hired Lynn and brought her production in and gave her jobs over the last 3 or 4 years, and Michael Kopko as well. And now they've split off to do their own thing. And so we wish them well.
Well said.
Well, competition is the American way, and it's a free world, and so you can do whatever you want to do, and particularly if you can afford to do it. And so, that's what they want to do, and so, we wish them well.
What about the issue of a permanent home? Is there anything on the horizon? In terms
I'm not so concerned about a permanent home. I think Nantucket is our permanent home. The theater actors have always been gypsies. I spent all my life traveling around the world making films and doing theater, so I'm not so concerned that we don't have, like a big edifice like the Dreamland. I wouldn't want to have the Dreamland and the responsibility of having to maintain that and heat it and staff it and all that. So look, we're very happy at the Methodist Church, and down in the basement there we've created what we call Center Stage, because it's right on Center Street. It's in the heart of the town. We've had a long 25-year relationship with the Methodist Church, and we love them. And we hope that we can stay there for many years to come. The same way with the Congregational Church, at Bennett Hall. We love them, and we love Bennett Hall. And so the larger productions, the ones that we're already planning for next season, the ones that we're just closing now, the Christmas Carol, for example, they belong in Bennett Hall. Big productions with, it can fill 150 seats. And we do all summer long and all fall. And then smaller productions, more offbeat plays and dramas and more experimental work we can do at Center Stage. And those two homes at the moment are satisfying our demand.
What's your favorite kind of play?
My favorite kind of play is the kind of play that I haven't seen yet. I don't know. I love to be surprised. So this play that we're doing tonight, Dinner, or that opens tomorrow, it's full of surprises. I love plays that are full of surprises, because when I go to the theater, I don't want to be, or a movie, I don't want to be able to predict what happens. I don't read reviews. I don't care about the critics. I don't want to hear anybody who said, "I just saw the greatest movie and it's about," I go blah 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 blah, because I don't want to know anything when I go into the theater. I just want to be taken into a world where I am transported and be told a story that it delights me, or enriches me in some way, or it inspires me in some way, or it just entertains me. That's what I think.
Does it ever turn you off? Does it ever revolt you?
You know, no, it doesn't. Honestly, I mean, I've never seen a play that I walked out on ever. You know, they're bad productions of good plays. We don't do bad plays.
What about films?
Well, I mean, films.
Do you take the same approach with films?
I don't think I've ever walked out on a film. There's always something to be learned, even from, quote, bad films. You learn what not to do when you're making a film, you know. So, anyway.
Anyway, between your first exposure to the theater workshop and 5 years ago when you started in, you did a lot of other things and built yourself a very successful career as an actor and director and screenwriter and so forth. One of the things I saw was a couple of years ago you went and were in an Indian film. Was that a Bollywood? Was that a Bollywood film?
Well, you know something. I thought I had done about everything, and then this Indian director called me up and he said, "I would like to meet you." So I had him lunch at an Indian restaurant in Manhattan, and this guy named Arun Varanathan said, "I want you to play this film, and we're going to shoot it. It's about Indian immigrants who populate a large percentage of New Jersey. Like, there's 250,000 of them, 300,000 of them in the heart of New Jersey. I'd never been to this land before, where there are temples and Buddhist temples and all these unbelievable things.
In New Jersey?
In New Jersey. And I went into that world with him, and I play the only American in the film. The other actors, Sneha, and you know, the other actors who came from India to be in this film with me, they all spoke, you know, what were they speaking? Let me see. It's
Tamil, is it?
Yeah, it's Tamil.
Tamil.
Yeah, they all live in Tamil Nadu. Now, for those of us who don't know what Tamil Nadu was, like me, Tamil Nadu is one of the states in southern India. There's 300 million people in this one state alone. And so, so we shot it in America, but then it opened in Chennai, which is...
So they brought the whole cast over from India for the movie?
Yes.
Here? Except for you?
Except for me. I was the only American in it. And then they brought it all back over to India, and it played in India. It was a great success in India. And they told me it was a success because when people in India go to the movie theater and they like it, if they like what they see, they take out coins and they start throwing them at the screen and candy and stuff. And
that's wonderful.
I wanted to go to the premiere of this, but I couldn't go.
Yeah. What are you working on now?
Well, I'm writing a film, a thriller, a romantic thriller that's set on Nantucket. And I've been working with my partner, whose name is Armin Bernstein, who has a company called Beacon Pictures. And Army produced a film that I starred in he directed a film and wrote it that I did many years ago for Warner Brothers called Windy City. And so he came to me about 6 years ago and said, let's do a film together, another one. And he proposed this idea to me, and we've been working on it for quite some time. We're getting very close to making it happen. And when it's going to happen, I'll come back to your show and I'll tell you all about it. It's going to be cool, very cool. Because one of the reasons I took the position at the Theater Workshop was because I thought, well, look, if I worked at the Theater Workshop, not only could I give back, but I could get to know everybody in the creative community, and then help use the creative community to help make the film, and then help use the film to help the creative community. So we're hoping that that's going to happen.
A good Nantucket film, I don't think it's been made since Moby Dick, has it? There was one I remember called Jillian and her 42nd birthday or something?
Yeah, which was only shot a couple of days here. You know,
I know, it was all in North Carolina.
Johnny Johnson shot one here years ago called Ratchet, an independent film that didn't get very wide release, but interesting. There hasn't been many. You know, I mean, maybe never a whole major feature.
Right.
So we're going to do our best. We'll see.
That'll be fun.
And so I also do a series called The Good Wife that I shoot in New York. I spend most of my time writing these days and producing this. I'm trying to work on this film project, and of course with the Theater Workshop.
So 50-50 is your time divided between the Theater Workshop and the other things?
Yeah, the Theater Workshop, they asked me to do the whole thing, and I said, no, you need a producer. You need somebody like Gabrielle Gould, because Gabrielle is awesome at what she does, and you know that's really her full-time job, and she's amazing doing it. But it's like being the artistic director, which is what I do. I said it has to be defined only as a part-time thing, so I can go off and do other projects, because I still have an acting and directing career out there in the world.
That's right.
So you know, honestly, it's one of those things where they say it's a part-time job, it's a full-time job with part-time pay. You know, like on Nantucket, so many nonprofits.
Sort of like mine.
Yeah, like all of ours, right? But I don't care, because I really love it, and it's been an amazing experience, and I've met so many great people, and I hope to keep doing it for a while. But it's not enough to sustain my life and my family. I have 2 small children, and you know, so anyway, I have to go off and make films and TV. So I do that.
Great. John Shea, artistic director of the Theater Workshop and actor and writer and director extraordinaire. Thank you for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so
Good to
much.
see you, John.
Yeah, nice to see you.